Hello, dear students. I welcome you all on behalf of Sri Jayendra Rank Zone classes. Dear student, we are in a continuation of the chapter that is respiration in plant. And today we are going in continuation of this chapter. We are going to talk about the some shuttle system, embolic pathway, and respiratory caution. Okay. So first topic which we discuss here that is shuttle system. Now the question is why we study this shuttle system and what is the role of it. So there is a mystery of 36 or 38 ATP from one glucose. Okay. So either 36 are going to produce or 38 going to produce. So which one is going to produce from one glucose total ATP, 38 going to be produced or 34 is going to be produced? That will be dependent on the what a shuttle system. So 38 or 36 ATP that is depend on type of shuttle, active or functional in cell or found in cell. So now the question is where this shuttle are located, what is the function of this? So suppose this is the cell, okay, and in cell this is the mitochondria, and in mitochondria these are the cristae. Now we know ETS take place on the inner mitochondrial membrane, and NADH2 without going ETS cannot give a 3-ATP. Now we know that glucose to pyruvic acid, that is glycolysis, take place in cytoplasm, and in cytoplasm two NADH2 molecule are there. Now this NADH2 molecule, one NADH2 molecule, two are there. So each NADH2 molecule to give a 3-ATP it has to break or oxidize through the ETS. But for that, this NADH2 has to reach the mitochondrial matrix. So it will cross the membrane and will reach. So now the question is through which shuttle it will reach. That will decide that how many ATP are going to enter. So either it can enter through this, or its energy can either enter through this. So this is the what a shuttle. And this shuttle are of two types, as you can see in this diagram, and the function of them are different. So let's discuss that. So now it is clear that a cytosolic or extra mitochondrial or glycolytic NADH cytosolic or extra mitochondrial or glycolytic NADH transported to ETS by two type of shuttle. And this shuttle are found in eukaryotic cell only. So these are found in eukaryotic cell only. And it is known that this shuttle are of two types. The first type is malate aspartate shuttle. Malate aspartate shuttle. And second type is glycerol phosphate shuttle. So these two types of shuttle are there. Malate aspartate shuttle and glycerol phosphate shuttle. These two types of shuttle are found. Now in this, first we are going to discuss the malate aspartate shuttle, which malate aspartate shuttle. And this malate aspartate shuttle found in heart, kidney, and liver cells. So, okay. Now, how these are functional? See, as we know, suppose this is the cytoplasm. Then the NADH2 obviously get formed in cytoplasm during glycolysis. Now, then it will can encounter outer mitochondrial membrane. That perimitochondrial space will be there. The inner mitochondrial membrane will be there, and the next one is mitochondrial matrix. Okay, so these are there. Okay. Now we know that glycolysis take place in cytosol. So glucose is going to give rise to pyruvic acid, and during which two NADH2 molecule are formed. So now I am showing with one NADH2 what will happen to one each NADH2. NADH2 break into NAD plus by reacting with oxaloacetic acid. And this oxaloacetic acid is going to form a malate or malic acid. This malate or malic acid get transported to the mitochondrial matrix. After this mitochondrial matrix, it is known that this malate react with NAD plus and get converted into NADH2. And here you will form a malate. The oxaloacetate is going to be formed. Now oxaloacetate is not permeable through this membrane, so it will react with NH2 and form aspartate. This aspartate passes through this membrane and again come to cytoplasm. From this, the NH2 group, amino group get released and the oxaloacetate gets inside again. So here the energy of NADH2 through these reactions ultimately forming NADH2 inside the mitochondrial matrix. Now this NADH will enter ATS and this will give rise to the 3 ATPs. So if this malate aspartate shuttle is active, then NADH2 is going to give rise to NADH2 inside the mitochondrial matrix and 3 ATP is going to be produced. So when this NADH2 from 3 ATP, that is the cytosolic NH2 is able to give a 3 ATP, then this shuttle is active. So means when this shuttle is active, the total 38 ATP gets synthesized. From one glucose. But another shuttle is there, that is the glycerol 3-phosphate shuttle. And it is known that this glycerol 3-phosphate shuttle is found in all plants, nerve, and muscle cells. And this glycerol 3-phosphate shuttle is common shuttle system. So if I understand this, there is a cytoplasm, there is outer mitochondrial membrane, perimitochondrial space, inner mitochondrial membrane, and mitochondrial matrix. Now in cytoplasm, the glucose get converted into pyruvic acid, and during which the NADH2 get formed. Now this NADH2 undergo NAD plus by the reaction of DHAP, and when DHAP react with NADH2 to form NAD, and along with that it will form glycerol 3 phosphate. Now glycerol 3 phosphate is permeable, but there is a enzyme complex, that is succinate dehydrogenase enzyme complex is there in the human mitochondrial membrane. So glycerol 3 phosphate reaches here and release its H plus. That H plus are accepted by FAD plus and get converted into FADH2, and DHAP is synthesized again. This DHAP again reaches here and glycerol 3 phosphate get formed again. So here glycolytic NADH2 gives it energy in the form of FADH2. Means glycolytic NADH2 is forming FADH2 inside. So this FADH2 is entering yes, and there is going to give rise to 2 ATP. So this, when this shuttle is active, we cannot count glycolytic NADH2 is equal to 3 ATP. We will count glycolytic NADH2 is equal to 2 ATP because NADH is not entering in the ATS. NADH is first forming FADH2 and then FADH2 is entering the ATS, so it will give rise to 2 ATP. So we consider glycolytic NADH2 is equal to 2 ATP in this. Now 2 NADH2 formed during glycolysis, so 4 ATP will count in glycolysis. So this oxidative phosphorylation means total 36 ATP will be formed when this shuttle is active. Okay, so this is the shuttle system which is solve the mystery of 36 or 38 ATP synthesis. Now it is also known that in prokaryotes, shuttle mechanism is absent. So they always get they always get 38 ATP from aerobic respiration, of one glucose. Okay, so this is the what we can say about the shuttle system. Okay, so that is all about the what shuttle system. Now let's talk about the amphibolic pathway. Now when we talk about amphibolic pathway, you know that glucose is the favored substrate for respiration, and all carbohydrates are usually first converted into glucose before they are used for the respiration, or that is aerobic or anaerobic. Other substrate can also be respired, but then they do not enter the respiratory pathway at the first step, that is the glucose to 6-phosphate conversion, and they can enter through the different pathway. So amphibolic means the catabolism as well as MP means both. Both means catabolism as well as anabolism. If both of this take place, that is anabolism and catabolism, then we can call it as a what amphibolic pathway. So when both anabolism, that is synthetic reaction, and catabolism, that is we can say breakdown reaction, both are involved in this reaction, then it is called as amphibolic pathway. Okay, so when both anabolism and catabolism are involved in respiratory pathway, when both catabolism and anabolism are involved in a respiratory pathway, it would be better to consider the pathway as amphibolic rather than catabolic. Okay. So rather than catabolic, we can call it as a amphibolic pathway. So if you want to understand this, what is amphibolism, then we know that there are three the substrate, that is carbohydrate, fat, and protein. Fat get converted into fatty acid and glycerol. Carbohydrate get converted into simple sugar, that is glucose, and the proteins get converted into amino acids. Now, first of all, the carbohydrate is the preferred source of or preferred substrate. This carbohydrate get converted into simple sugars, that is glucose, and glucose get further converted into glucose 6 phosphate. Then it will form a fructose 6,1,6 phosphate. Then the further from fructose 1,6 phosphate converted into glyceraldehyde phosphate, carry out a link, pyruvic acid will form, undergo link reaction, acetyl coenzyme will be formed. Then Krebs cycle will take place, and this thing will happen. But when the carbohydrate get over is in a cell, now the body will be dependent on the fat. So what will happen? The fat will first broken up into the glycerol and fatty acid, as you can see here, that gets converted into fatty acid and glycerol. And fatty acid were to be respired, they would first be degraded to acetyl coenzyme. So this fatty acid get degraded. Sorry, this fatty acid degraded to the acetyl coenzyme A by the beta oxidation process. Whereas this glycerol get converted into DHAP and further converted into glyceraldehyde phosphate and enter this pathway. Ultimately, the acetyl coenzyme undergo Krebs cycle and gives the energy. But when the fat get over, the proteins will be, body will be dependent on the proteins, and body shall take a shift from the protein respiration to protoplasmic respiration, and the proteins or amino acid get synthesized. This amino acid get further converted into pyruvic acid, acetyl coenzyme in Krebs cycle, and carry out ATP synthesis. So since respiration, as we consider, involve this all things, ultimately the it is considered as amphibolic pathway. So glucose is the most favored substrate for respiration. As we know, all carbohydrates are converted into glucose before they are used for the respiration. Entry of different substrate in the respiratory pathway. Fat converted into glycerol and fatty acid, and this glycerol fatty acid get enter the particular glucose breakdown pathway. The fatty acid to be respired, first it is degraded to acetyl coenzyme, as we have discussed. Glycerol enter the pathway after being converted into PGAL, as we have discussed. Proteins degraded by the, we can say, proteases, and then individual amino acid after deamination. Okay, this is the way we can say ultimately things happen. Now, apart from this, dear student, we need to remember that there are some respiratory intermediates also involved in anabolism. Okay, so if we talk about the anabolism of Krebs cycle, then we can note that the first acetyl coenzyme is involved in synthesis or anabolism of fatty acids and gibberellic acid. Whereas second, if we talk succinyl coenzyme A, that get converted into synthesis of chlorophyll, cytochromes, and phytochromes. In this, it get converted. And third, oxaloacetic acid and alpha ketoglutaric acid, they get converted or used in synthesis of amino acids. And fourth is the oxaloacetic acid that is used in synthesis of alkaloids. So such a way, this all particularly are used in synthesis of this particular component. Apart from this, we remember that this acetyl coenzyme in amphibolic pathway, this acetyl coenzyme, it is common meeting point or connecting link between fat, carbohydrates and fat, carbohydrates and protein metabolism. So during breakdown of all this, either protein, carbohydrate or fat, the meeting point or intermediate compound acetyl coenzyme is common. So because of this, we call it as a common meeting point or connecting link. Okay. So respiration involves the breakdown of substrate, and respiratory process are traditionally been considered as a catabolic process. Traditionally, it is considered, but respiratory pathway is a catabolic pathway. Hence, fatty acid would be broken down to acetyl coenzyme before entering the respiratory pathway. When it is used as a substrate, but when the organism needs to synthesize fatty acid, acetyl coenzyme would be withdrawn from the respiratory pathway. So it is considered as an anabolic as well as catabolic pathway. Hence, the respiratory pathway comes into the picture both during the breakdown and synthesis of fatty acid. Okay, and similarly, breakdown and synthesis of protein too. So the breaking down of process within the living organism constitutes catabolism, while the synthesis is anabolism. The respiratory pathway is known as both anabolism and catabolism, so we call it as an amphibolic pathway. So to consider it as an amphibolic pathway rather than a catabolic. Let's discuss some of the MCQ. Respiratory pathway involve both breaking down of substance and synthesizing the substrate, so it would be better to consider as amphibolic pathway. Obviously, what is the form of entry of glycerol and fatty acid respectively in respiratory pathway? Obviously, they are entering through the PGAL and acetyl coenzyme respectively. What are the substrates which can enter the aerobic respiration only after undergoing degradation and deamination? So obviously, proteins first undergo degradation, then deamination and enter this pathway. Because of this, it is proteins. What should be withdrawn from the respiratory pathway for the synthesis of fatty acid? So it is known that the acetyl coenzyme is withdrawn from the synthesis of fatty acid. Proteins are converted into the following before they enter into the respiratory surface. So obviously they are first converted into amino acid and then into the respiratory pathway. Glycerol enters the respiration as glycerol enters the respiration by converted into the phospholipid through DHAP. So this is what about amphibolic pathway. Now we talk about the respiratory quotient, which is one of the important and the almost last topic of this chapter. So if we talk about respiratory quotient, the respiratory quotient is also considered as the RQ, and that is equivalent to the respiratory quotient, and it is defined as it is a ratio between the volume of carbon dioxide given out and oxygen taken in during the respiration. If we take a ratio of that, that is the volume of CO2 evolved upon volume of O2 consumed, and that is a respiratory quotient. Now, the respiratory quotient is considered that it is depend on the type of respiratory substrate used during respiration. The type of respiratory substrate that going to be used, that will decide that the respiratory quotient will occur or not. Okay. So here, if we talk, Then RQ is an index of a type of substrate being used. Means through RQ we can identify which substrate is actually getting used. Okay, so by that we can identify. So now, if the substrate is different, then the obviously RQ is going to be different, and different respiratory substrate in different RQ values. So respiratory substrate, if we talk, there can be carbohydrate, protein, fat, organic acids. Now, dear student, if the substrate is carbohydrate, then RQ is going to be 1, because when carbohydrate are used as substrate and are completely oxidized, the RQ is going to be 1. If we consider an example, then glucose, the CO2 evolved upon O2 consumed, then in reaction, if we talk about this reaction, that is C6H12O6 plus 6O2, the 6 CO2 are released along with the 6 water energy. So 6 CO2 plus 6 O2 gives rise to the 1 value. So because of this respiratory quotient of when a carbohydrate is substrate, it is a 1. Now fat. When fat are used in respiration, the RQ is less than 1. The calculation for fatty acid tripalmitin is used as a substrate for below. Suppose if we are taking the tripalmitin, that is the C51H98O6, and react with the 145O2 give rise to 102 CO2 and 98 water analog with energy. So if we carry out a ratio of RQ, that is 102 CO2 upon 145 O2, the RQ value comes to the 0.7. So the respiratory quotient is going to be 0.7 for the fat, that is less than 1. For proteins, it is considered that the respiratory substrate, the ratio would be about 0.9. And what is important to recognize is that the living organism respiratory substance RQ value more than 1 as well. Pure proteins or fat are never going to be used as a respiratory substrate. That you should remember this thing. Now, after this RQ less than 1 and 1, if we talk about organic acid, if respiratory substrate are organic acids, then for organic acid, RQ is going to be greater than 1. Okay, so during complete oxidation of organic acids, we talk about the complete oxidation of organic acid. In case of maturing fatty acids, it is known that the two molecules, if oxalic acid is there, the reaction for oxalic acid is COOH2 react with O2, give rise to 4CO2, 2H2O and energy. So if we carry out RQ 4 by 1, so RQ is going to be 4. For malic acid, if we consider C4H5O5 plus 3O2 give rise to 4CO2 plus 3H2O plus energy. So 4 by 3, it is going to be 1.33. So RQ for malic acid is 1.33. Then, if we talk about succinic acid, the reaction is C4H6O4 plus 7O2 give rise to 8CO2 plus 6H2O plus energy. So it is going to be 8 by 7O2, so it is going to be 1.14. So that is for the succinic acid. Then, so for organic acid, RQ is going to be greater than 1. Now, if we take a substrate, that is succulent plant, so in succulent plant, we know that the stomata are open during night. So during night, due to availability of insufficient O2, the glucose oxidizes partially and RQ will be 0. So in succulent plant, if we talk about C6H12O6, only limited O2 is available, and C4H6O5 malic acid is getting formed along with 3H2O and energy. So here CO2 is not evolved and O2 are 3 are used. So because of this, the succulent plant, the RQ is going to be 0. If we talk about anaerobic respiration, then in anaerobic respiration, if we talk about C6H12O6 that get converted into C2H5OH, it had alcohol along with the 2CO2 and 59 kilocalorie energy. Now here, if we talk about RQ, that is going to be 2CO2 upon 0 O2. So if 0 oxygen is there, then the RQ is going to be infinite. So for anaerobic respiration, RQ is going to be infinite. So this is the what particularly we can say about the respiratory quotient. So what is the respiratory quotient value of carbohydrate? So obviously carbohydrate, it is going to be 1. Now next is RQ value of carbohydrate is 1 because of this volume of CO2 evolved is equal to the volume of CO2 to consume. So RQ is going to be 1. RQ value of tripalmitin is, it is 0.7. RQ depends on obviously the type of respiratory substitute being consumed or used. So this is all about the what we can say the metabolic pathway shuttle system and the respiratory quotient. Okay, so I hope you understood this particular topics. Thank you everyone.